Hello, everyone. Thank you, and welcome to another episode of Team AC with Aliya Crawford. Here with me today is a very special person to me and to the world, Miss Dyana Williams. She is a veteran broadcaster. She is a live event producer and CEO of Influence Entertainment. And please welcome Dyana to the platform.
Hey, Miss Aliya, I am thrilled to be here with you today.
I'm thrilled to have you. Thank you so much for joining me. It's an honor and a privilege to talk to you today. And we could talk about a myriad of things, but today I invited you on the show to talk about Black Music Month because you are one of the co-founders of Black Music Month, in addition to all of the other wonderful things that you have done throughout your career and life. You happen to be one of the co-founders of Black Music Month, which is this month, June.
Yes, with Kenny Gamble and broadcaster Ed Wright.
Absolutely. So can you talk about the origins of Black Music Month and what led you all to found this very important holiday and
The
occasion?
celebration of people like yourself and many others. Yes, Black Music Association was the organization established, created by Kenny Gamble to galvanize people from different parts of the industry. He had visited Nashville, saw how effective the CMA organization was in branding, not just the community, but the city as Music City. And he was like, okay, we need to do that with Black music because Black music is the universal language, overstood by billions. And so it was Gamble's idea. We happened to be a couple at the time, and he wanted to carve out a month where we celebrated the contributions not just of songwriters, producers, recording, engineers, any and everybody involved in the creation and perpetuation of Black music. A lot of people think it's just a celebration of the artist, but where would your clients be without publicity? Where would they be without the public being aware of their philanthropic and their artistic endeavors and their business endeavors? So it is a celebration of any and everybody who appreciates Black music, especially the consumer. So 1979, President Jimmy Carter hosted an event on the South Lawn of the White House at the encouragement of the BMA and the Godfather, Clarence Avant. He was the one who initially made the call and the outreach to the White House. A lot of people, I've seen some things where people are crediting President Carter. He did not found Black Music Month. He was the first American president to designate it. However, I discovered in the late 1990s when I asked President Bill Clinton to host a similar reception, the White House came back and said, oops, President Carter did not sign a presidential proclamation. So
Mhm.
go get us some legislation from Congress and the Senate, come back, and we'll set up meetings for you with President Clinton and members of the music industry. So President Bill Clinton was the first American president to issue proclamations, and they have been issued ever since, although I'm not sure if I got one from this current administration. I did when they were in the last time, but
Well, that's
that's
something
the
that's
story.
something that should happen. It should definitely happen.
But Aaliyah, yesterday I opened my laptop, I went on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I saw that Black Music Month was trending. And boy, did that give me a jolt of excitement as someone who's been in the trenches working on getting all Americans to understand that Black music is Indigenous American music. So some white people might say, why should I care? Well, you should care because it enriches our cultural landscape as well as our economic situation on a global basis. We're talking billions of dollars, not millions. So
Absolutely.
many billions, I'm not the one to calculate it other than to know that since recorded music, Black people have been involved and have been the ones to be undercompensated, if compensated at all.
Hmm.
However, somebody's making a lot of money off of Black
Exactly.
music. Mhm.
And you and I both know that as being members of the Recording Academy and really entrenched in the music community, we do know how much money it generates for the United States. And it's something that, in our advocacy work to Congress and politicians to, really emphasize how important music and the arts are, not only from a business standpoint or an economic standpoint, but like you said earlier, culturally. And people, it's really important to stress that Black music is American music, and it's an intrinsic part of the culture of the United States of America.
And wait a minute, the record companies,
Yes.
there used to be a strong presence with an American company with Warner Brothers, but mergers, acquisitions, yeah, yeah. Is that the word?
Yeah,
Is that it?
acquisitions.
Okay, fine. But Sony is a Japanese company, and they're huge. They're
Mhm.
very huge, and we as consumers are not just consuming music, but their TVs, their electronics. It all is kind of part and parcel of the culture, in my opinion.
And I think you have to also constantly remind people about the cultural aspect of African Americans and the distinct culture that we have created in this nation. Someone said to me not too long ago, and this was a Black person, and an American person, but not a native born American, an immigrant. And I think she kind of thought about it after she had said it, but she said it came to her mind, like, what is African American culture?
Wow,
And I just
really?
said, look around. Everything
Yeah.
you see is
Fashion, language, dance, art,
music, civil
theater.
rights.
It permeates every strata of culture, period. Well, I look around, I can see the pervasive influence in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in New Zealand, Australia, South America. Name a place on planet Earth. I haven't been everywhere, but I've traveled extensively. And in my travels, what do I hear and what do I see? I see Black culture, the way people dress, the way they talk, even in the language.
Hmm.
It's interesting because my mother, who is 91 and Puerto Rican, said to me the other day, she said, "Oh, yeah, that's bad." And I was like, "Mama, bad?" She said, "Yeah, bad as in good." There
Yes,
you go. There's a perfect example of a Puerto Rican American woman who was using bad the way most Black people use it. Bad doesn't mean negative. It depends on context. It means
yes,
like Michael Jackson, bad.
bad.
So
And you
yeah.
hear so many examples of that across culture, across media. You hear people saying, news anchors saying back in the day, and all
What?
these terms that are a part
Of the lexicon.
of Black vernacular, and something else I wanted to say, it was about music. There's no form of American music that was not created by Black people, from rock and roll to jazz, hip hop, calypso, and the list goes on and on.
From the field hollers where we're talking about, and a lot of
Country,
people also country as well.
bluegrass.
Bluegrass, they just gloss over the 400 years of free labor that Black folks engaged in, picking cotton, in the fields. I loved when Michelle Obama said she was proud to live in a house that was built by Black people. A lot of folks got upset. They were like clutching their, what do you mean? Yes, we mean Black men and women. Not to say that there were not some others involved, but the predominance of people who built the White House were Black folks.
And it's a part of our history, and it's not
But it,
something that needs to be glossed over or suppressed, because it's the truth, it's facts.
it is a part of our history and culture that is overlooked, under inaccurately reported, taught. I mean, it's just now we see a complete dissolving. I saw in the news this morning, they're changing the names of battleships and in our Navy, long-standing names of civil rights leaders, gay activists, all of that is being changed. And it's erasure. That's what's going on. There's erasure. But you and I are here as
Yeah,
voices of the culture to let people know. Black people,
exactly.
indigenous music comes from the United States, created by Black people.
And that's why it's so important to have Black-owned media to support and elevate and amplify these different platforms to recognize and amplify and showcase storytellers like yourself, people who know the history, know the culture, and can continue to tell the stories and pass
And
them
guess what?
down.
Respect for other genres of music that are not from that you started citing the list of from bluegrass to country. A lot of people are upset with us saying that we created country. Now, white people have their interpretation and their version of country that became dominant because they controlled the radio stations. They created an environment in Nashville, Tennessee, where it
Mhm.
was like the capital of, and a lot of energy and money and time was put into elevating not Charlie Pride, not the original creators, period. Back, I'm talking about back in the day.
Yeah.
They're forgotten and overlooked, and they should not be.
And then Black people moved on. They moved on because of the discrimination and some of the barriers. They decided to focus on other genres and
But
they
I want to
flourished.
say the winner of the best country album for this year, I was there, as weren't you too? Beyonce, much to her surprise, because she was overlooked by the CMAs. But
Mhm.
the Grammy organization, of which I must take a moment to say congratulations on being elected as the vice president of the Philadelphia chapter of the Recording Academy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your activism and your leadership. I'm so proud of you.
It's an honor, and you have been integral in, this. I'm sorry, I'm about to knock something over and break it. You've been integral in my journey with the Recording Academy, in the Recording Academy, and always championing me. And it's a pleasure and an honor to serve and to be a part of the organization, and also to be the first professional member that's now in our chapter able to serve as vice president.
It's a milestone and it's significant. And to have you in play, I might add a woman who was Temple made as
Yes,
well.
see
We're
you.
proud, we're
I'm an
proud Temple
alumnus. We're
University.
both alum of Temple University.
Yes.
Those are everywhere. Go TU. But Deanna, going back to the founding of Black Music Month, you said this was 1979. So what was the climate like at that time, and what were some of the challenges that you all faced in getting this and moving this forward?
Well, the first challenge that Gamble experienced was trying to pull together the big record companies that were Black owned at the time. And at the time, it was Solar Records, Dick Griffey, Motown, Berry Gordy, Philadelphia International Records. Those were the big Black owned players in the
Mhm.
game at the time. And everybody reserve their right to run their business and do, but he was like, let's come together. So that didn't happen. We get that people are in their situations and want to have complete and total control. But with the Black Music Association, Gamble created a movement where there were chapters all over the country. There was great excitement. Everybody was involved. Everybody from Stevie Wonder to Bob Marley, all the executives, the radio personalities. That's where Ed Wright was very pivotal and important to the development of the BMA because he brought all the disc jockeys, they were called disc jockeys. I was a disc jockey, all the radio personalities, announcers, because now we call deep mixers DJs. Okay.
Mhm.
But in my day, they were on the ones and twos. But everybody, photographers, uh, publicists, I mean, just everybody. So we had annual conferences, artists would perform, and we would talk about subjects that everything from how to copyright your song, how to protect your music, how to find a good entertainment lawyer to represent you, how to, find a manager that you're going to click with and that's going to serve the interest. I mean, we had tremendous topics. Everything was wonderful for a good long time
Yeah.
until it was.
How
Yeah.
has it evolved? How do you think the recognition and support of Black Music Month has evolved or grown over the years?
Well, you have a whole cadre of people who know about Black Music Month. Then you have a group of people who don't. I've met many people say, "Oh, I didn't know," and I'm talking about Black, white, all kind of people. But we're talking about like a one-woman band out here, doing interviews, letting people know this exists. It was sanctioned by an American and multiple American presidents. It is acknowledged by Congress. And so we the people, but there are people who don't even know, they don't know our Constitution. They don't know, and I'm talking about American citizens.
Hmm.
So while it is an observation that the president and the White House have accepted and received. And when you read these proclamations, if you go back, the encouragement, like I'll go back to President Biden, the last one that I was sent by the White House, where he restored the name of the month to Black Music Month, because for 8 years during the Obama administration, they changed it to African American Appreciation Month. I wrote the White House, I petitioned them for 8 solid years to change it to what Kenny Gamble, Ed Wright, and I called it, and what millions in the music business and community call it, Black Music Month. So thank you, Joe Biden, for that. I was so elated when I was invited to the first Juneteenth celebration at the White House, and in President Biden's speech, he said, Juneteenth in Black Music Month. I about fall off my chair. I was with a group of friends and they started clapping because they knew how much the restoration of the name meant to Kenny Gamble, Ed Wright, and myself. And so, you can't just go around changing the names of things that we came up with. We're real clear. Now, I use African American and Black intermittently, but in 1979, we called it Black Music Month, and it's Black Music Month still.
Yeah, you have to be intentional about
Exactly.
names and language because they do matter.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
just to segue from that in terms of the importance of how it's evolved, how we need to continue to educate people about Black Music Month and what it is and why it's important. What do you want younger generations of artists and people in the music industry and entertainment to know about Black Music Month?
I want them to recognize that while it's a concentrated month, a period of time for us to do special love and recognition, it's something that should be celebrated every day beyond June. I'm not saying just June. I'm saying give Black music the respect it deserves. So stream the music, buy the music. I bought an album last week, vinyl. I personally love vinyl. I come from the 70s where I played vinyl on the radio. I love vinyl, and in the 80s.
Mhm.
Um, Go support live music. I buy tickets to see my favorite performers because I know that they derive their income. We take music for granted. That's what I'm saying. Stop taking Black music for granted. Let us celebrate these people by saying, I'm going to buy a ticket to your show. I'm going to buy your merch. I'm going to stream your music, although streaming doesn't really afford songwriters and
Mhm.
or artists a lot of money, which is what you do as a member of the Recording Academy. You're petitioning Congress to change antiquated laws that were done in the 20th century that don't serve us in the 21st or moving forward. So working on legislation to change antiquated laws. I was with my grandson last year and I started reading and Black Music Month stuff to him,
Mhm.
especially as it relates to his grandfather, because his grandfather, as the co-founder and the conceiver of Black Music Month, is a great songwriter producer who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I know my grandson is 10, our grandson is 10,
Mhm.
and he's young, but he's very smart. And I sat with him and I said, we're going to read this book, and I want you to point out every time you see your grandfather's name. And he was like, look, but he was like, Nana, it's my name too. I was like, yes, it's the name you got from your grandfather. And your grandfather is a very accomplished man who's given the world classic music, classic songs. Your client, Patti LaBelle, some of her biggest hits were written by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, and the artists, I'm sorry, and the songwriters at Philadelphia International Records. And she is still singing songs that were written for her how many years ago?
50,
70. Yeah,
60.
50 years. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But this is timeless music that was written and created for Patti LaBelle and for the artists that are still living that he wrote and produced for. I had a beautiful conversation with my girlfriend Aretha Franklin one day. She called me and we were talking, and Gamble wrote Brand New Me, which was one of her songs. He was a co-writer on it. So she had a great affection for Kenny Gamble and the music that came out of Philadelphia. I did an interview with Nancy Wilson some years ago before she transitioned, and she spoke lovingly about Gamble and Huff and the album that they produced on her. So they did outside work outside of their label before they established Philadelphia International Records. So, long answer to your short question is respect, support, encouragement of Black music. Let us continue to elevate this Indigenous American art form, whether we are Black or not, accept the fact that this is music that was created by Black people in this country. Like you said, everything from bluegrass to gospel and in between, rock music. Some
Rock.
people get offended when you say rock music was created by Black people. But let's play the most Sister Rosetta Tharpe record and let's see what they have to say then.
And Chuck
And
Berry
sure,
and Ike
Chuck
Turner,
Berry and Ike Turner and Fats Domino, these people
Bo
were the mothers
Diddley,
and fathers, Bo Diddley
Little
of rock
Richard.
music. Little Richard, my beloved Little Richard. And you know what? Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones, they all cite Muddy Waters. They cite these people. The Rolling Stones took their
Howlin' Wolf. Yeah.
from Howlin' Wolf. They took their name from a Muddy Waters song. So they were in Europe and listening to Black artists. And that's what informed their music. Now, I'm not detracting from their artistry. I'm just simply saying what they have said, that they were listening to Black artists. That's what inspired them to do their
These
music.
are facts. All of this stuff is
It's
documented.
facts. And guess what? They're all very, very rich. Wealthy, actually. Forget rich. Wealthy is a step above rich. They
Rich,
are
yeah.
wealthy. Most of the rockers, the white rockers, and the Black ones often die penniless. Little Richard went to Congress to fight to get restoration of his copyrights that were stolen from him. Oftentimes, a lot of artists had to sign away or just signed on the dotted line. They didn't have proper representation. More importantly, they didn't have knowledge that they needed to protect themselves from predatory people who were going to steal what they created. And that's part of what we do with the Recording Academy.
Hmm.
And that's part of what I'm advocating for, and that we should all advocate for justice for the creators, justice for the people who are working in the industry to be paid properly and to be respected.
And that's a really, really important point because we do it with other art forms. It seems to work smoother with other art forms, with film and television and literature, but with music, but it's like you said, we can't take our artists, our music artists and music creators for granted. We have to respect them. We have to respect their creativity, their intellect, their intellectual property, and they need to be compensated equitably because all art is important for any society, any culture, but literally music is the literal soundtrack to our lives. Any important milestone that you may have in your life, music is most likely present in accompanying that. It is an
So well said.
essential
And,
part.
and Aliya, the first sound that you heard was of your mother's heartbeat, and that was a consistent boom, boom, boom. So the first sound we hear, the first music we hear as fetuses in our mother's uteruses is your mama's heartbeat. Wow. I'm getting chill bumps even thinking and saying it. But the reality is that music, especially Black music, from the moment you wake up until you close your eyes, you are consuming it when you turn on your TV, when you're in your car driving, when you go to the supermarket, the dentist's office, name a public place. Everywhere you go, there is Black music. So
Absolutely.
let's love up on it. If you have small children or your guardian, sit with them, ask them what they're listening to. Let them hear some of the music that you grew up listening to. It's a fun opportunity for us to say, wow, we should feel so grateful that in this country, this we're still a magnificent country despite some of our flaws.
Mhm.
We are major, but we should be proud that all of these genres of music were born, created out of the experience of Black people in America.
Hmm. Hmm. And we should continue to celebrate that. Now, Deanna, I know you're very busy. You're always busy, but June is an exceptionally busy time for you. And I know you've been doing a lot of interviews about Black Music Month. What do you have coming up? What else do you have coming up this month to help celebrate and
Ooh.
Black Music Month?
I am on the board of the National Museum of African American Music in Nashville, Tennessee, ironically, Nashville. But Nashville, a music capital for sure, because the Fisk Jubilee Singers were the first international ambassadors of Black music, of gospel music, performing for the kings and queens of England. They loved our music. So I'm on the board. I'm a founding member of this museum, and I'm so proud. And on June 13th, I'll be doing a one-on-one with a notable producer. I cannot say who it is at this point because we substituted Teddy Riley, and we're working on confirming the other guest. But I will be in Nashville, Tennessee at the museum, and we have a big ongoing, it started today actually. Linda Martell is being honored. There's a whole country event going on tonight in Nashville, Black country artist. And we're celebrating throughout the month. So, but I will be there next week for June 13th for our event. We're celebrating the 90s, one of my favorite periods of time as well. We're honoring Renee from the group formerly Jeanne, and Damon Williams, who is the head of the Rhythm and Blues Foundation, is a DJ as well. He's going to be spinning.
Right.
But I am also the director of talent for the Wow Wow Welcome America Festival. It is a 16-day free festival open to the community that we're celebrating all manner of artists. And I'm also producing, curating the Black Music Month concert. It's a celebration of Black Music Month, June 28th at the Dell Music Center, featuring DJ Active, who is Janet Jackson's DJ. He's doing a tribute to Philly called We Live in Philly, playing just the music. His set
And
is just
DJ Active, he also works with Patty. He also DJs for
DJ
her.
Active works with Hattie as well. He's just very grand and great and lovely, and was excited. He's doing a tribute to Gary O, who was the DJ, resident DJ at the Dell. Also, Kindred, the Family Soul, DJ Philly Freeway. And you're the first to get this information. Music Soul Child is our headliner. He has never performed at the Dell. He is a native of Philadelphia. And this list was given to me by, it was given to us by Mayor Parker, Sherelle Parker, the 100th mayor of Philadelphia and the first woman of color, African American woman. And this, so I call it the mayor's concert as well as
And
Black
this
music.
is, again, this is a free concert, correct?
All 16 days of the Welcome America Festival. People can go to July4th.com and they'll see our full run of our schedule. And we have DJ drama. I mean, we're kicking things off Juneteenth at the African American Museum, and we have a beautiful activation going on there, and it just goes nonstop, culminating July 4th in front of the Philadelphia Museum of Art with Jasmine Sullivan, Philly's own, and LL Cool J.
Oh
So
my,
we're very excited. So I'm pretty involved, very
yes.
entrenched in the festival right now. And then I have speaking engagements throughout the month and podcast interviews, letting people know more about what is Black Music Month. Why should we celebrate it? What's the importance of it and how to celebrate it? So I'm active and
Yeah,
booked.
and we're looking forward to continuing to celebrate this very important month, all month, Black Music Month, June. Looking
I'm
forward.
doing something with your chapter as well.
Yes, Philadelphia chapter, the Recording Academy. I'm looking forward to all of the Wow Wow Welcome America festivities and being a part of those and being present, and the Black Music Month concert and the Juneteenth celebration. Everyone, so I want everyone to follow Deanna. Deanna, how can people keep in contact with you on social media, what have you?
I am Dyana, Dyana Williams, on all my social media, on my Instagram, Facebook, X. I don't do TikTok. But and also my company, I'm CEO of Influence Entertainment, and they can go to influenceentertainment.com to learn more about our company and my bio. Some of the interviews that I've done in the past with regards to Black Music Month. And Influence Entertainment, we do media, coaching, we do marketing. We marketed last year a play called 44 Obama in Philadelphia about Barack Obama. And we've had a wonderful experience working with their team. So, yes, Influence Entertainment and Dyana Williams. I am responsive. If people write me, I do my best to respond to every email, whether I'm up at 3 a.m. doing it. I feel if you take the time to write me, I do my best to respond. Do I miss some people? Yes. But for the most part, I make a very sincere, concerted effort to respond to people. I'm grateful to you, Aliya, for the opportunity, and congratulations again on all of your success. I tell you privately all the time, I admire your evolution as a professional in the entertainment business and as a woman with your family, with your son. Congratulations on the graduation as
Thank
well.
you.
So,
Well,
yes, thank you
Dyana,
for
you
having
are
me.
one of my role models, and you are definitely one of my mentors. You are extraordinary. You've always supported me. You're so supportive of everyone. And in addition to everything that you do professionally and for the culture, you are a mother, you're a grandmother, you are a daughter, and blessed to have your mother still with us. So you wear so many hats and do it so well. You're an inspiration to us all. You are a treasure to the universe. I thank you for joining us here, joining all the people here that are watching us here on Team AC with Aliya Crawford. Thank you so much, Dyana. We appreciate you. We love you. Ashe.
Ashe.